name is Russell Scott, and I'm going to teach you how to start carving a face, Santa face, basically like this. I'm going to show you how to get in the nose and the eyes, carve around the beard and mustache. It's a very simple process, very simple video. Here's another example here. Carving in the face. And one more sample here. Different and yet the same. Okay, I'm going to be using a simple block of wood just to demonstrate this. And I want to try to figure out where the top of the head and where the top and the bottom of the head is. It's very important to understand, to know where that is. And before you get carving on your start carving the face on the head, you want to start by carving at a 90 degree angle. The face, most of the faces kind of start as a, see if I can get that in there, sort of like a 90 degree angle. And what you're going to do is you want to carve it so it's at a 90 degree angle, and then you find your the top of the head and the bottom of the head, and then draw the eye line, which is in the center between the top and the bottom. Eye line is at the top of between the top and the bottom. I think I might be off just a little bit, but now the nose, generally the nose is about a third down, but since this is a character Santa Claus, we're going to go about half down because we still want to add a little extra wood there, you know, do a little bit of carving, you know, if you have a slip of the knife. Okay, we're going to get started with carving the face, just getting started on the face here. And you want to take your knife or chisel or whatever and cut straight down at the bottom of the nose. Kind of cut that out. Like that. Then we're going to go just a little bit above the the tip of the nose, and we want to carve back about 30 degrees. 30 degrees-ish, so something like that. Okay. Now we want to take our pencil, draw the center line back in. Draw the eye line back in. And now we're going to do a series of triangles. I like to use carving with a knife. Is kind of make like you're making a jack-o'-lantern face by putting in a set of 3 triangles. Now the eye triangle kind of goes up sharply and short, and then long and flat, like that. So you can do that without too much of the reflection there. Now I like to use the knife and try to carve this out in a series of chip carving, which we're going to do is upside down pyramids or valleys. And you're going to take your knife and you want to carve away from the nose. If you're right-handed, some people have the tendency to carve like this, and they would get into the nose and they would go in the wrong direction, take the nose off. So you want to go away from the nose, and you want to go deep, right where the eyeball is, right where the eye socket is, and then you pull your knife up shallow. So it's deep and then shallow. Deep down, and then you pull up. Same with the eye. You want to point towards the eyeball. Let's see, get over here. And you want to sharp down, but bring it up. You don't want to go too deep on the top of the eye there. You want to come down shallow. This is kind of shallow all the way. All right. Then we're going to carve our first chip by going from the right here to right down there. Here to here. Pointing in now. Remember you carved away from. Now we're going to carve into, and we're going to try to see if we can take that chip out. and see if it's going to pop out. Now, sometimes it doesn't pop out. You have to kind of do some recarving here. Come on, get in there. And it should pop out like that. Should. My favorite word. Now it's the same. We're going to take a chip off this way. You're going to have your knife parallel to the eye line. And since this chip came down, this cut came down this way, you want this cut to come up. You're going to go deeper and deeper. And for that chip to come out. Now it would be nice for it to be clean. Clean it out a little bit. Now let's do the other side. Carve away from the nose. See, make sure I got the right angle there. If I hold it up like this, it is away from the nose. And then come up shallow. You're going to go shallow and then deep. See if I get my hand around there. So, and this is shallow all the way here. Take that first chip out from here to here. That came out a little better. Let's go a little deeper. Now you don't have to have the depth as perfect as you want right away. What we can do is you can keep working at it. You keep working at the depth, and until it gets as deep as you want the eye socket to be. The depth of the eye socket also depends on the length of the nose. So in other words, if we want a longer nose, we want a longer nose or a thicker nose, we will have to go a little deeper on the eye socket. Same thing here, we're going to go parallel. And that should pop out. Should. Now we're getting started here. One more thing that we want to do is we want to take another chip at the eye line right here. See this is the eye line right here, and we want to carve here down and the other way for that chip to come out. Now the purpose of that is to put that bridge in the nose. See that? So it doesn't look like a sort of a Klingon look or something. Okay, I'm going to kind of clean this out a little more. Now, if you're carving this into your Santa face or whatever face, cowboy face or whatever, I always like to get the nose and the eye sockets in right away when it comes to carving the face. Because what happens is it'll kind of get your nose started, get your nose going. And then I like to go away and I like to do other things, find out where the beard is, before I start making any kind of details going on. So I'm going to make this as a Santa Claus. His cheek is going to go something like this, come down this way, and the head is going to come like this. So I'm going away from detailing the nose, detailing the eyes, and then I want to take care of everything else that's around it. And then let's say I want to have a mustache coming in. Like that. And you can see how it's starting to come in. Oops. Kind of holding the block of wood a little funny so I can show you in the camera. So it's kind of hard to look at the angle that I'm going here. Now you could take a V-tool and cut around there, would cut out what you've just drawn. Or you can take the knife, tip of the knife, and do the same thing as what a V-tool would do. V-tool is nice and clean, of course, and it's a lot easier. I like the knife because it's more, it's not as perfect, because we don't want it to be perfect. especially when you get around the cheeks and you get around the beard and the mustache. I want it to be a little less mechanical. Or you could do what I do. Sometimes I do both, take the V-tool and just clean it out, and then come back and take the knife and kind of make it a little more irregular. And we come around here like this. And we come back. I'm going with the natural handle of the knife. Since I'm right-handed, like I was mentioning before, that the knife naturally goes this way, so then I would carve this way on one side and then bring the wood around and come back using the same angle of my knife. So getting started there. Looks like the left mustache is a little bigger. We'll work on that a little later. Same thing with the cheek. Carving away, turning around, and then carving away in the other direction. See if you can see that. Same here back. Okay, see, that's a good start. We still got a while to go, I suppose, but at least at this, we're going to hold it in such a way that there we go. You can see we're on our way. And of course, the beard and the mustache can be of any shape and size you want. But I'm just going to round things off a little bit here. No, before I round things off here, let me just take some things away here. Just take some, so it'll be a little easier for me to carve. All right. Now I want to clean out the face. What I want to do is I want to add a little bit of three-dimensionality of it. You'll notice when I carved this way, I carved straight, but that's kind of flat, so I'm going to we're going to work on this eye socket first. And what I'm going to do is carve put another, like I did at the bridge and the nose. There. And it adds a little more three-dimensionality of it, instead of it being a flat face. What you're supposed to do is when you see the character's profile, you want to be able to still see the eyeball. Now one thing that I see that's not right here is you can see the forehead is still a little too, still got too much forehead. And it's getting a little better. Same with the other side. Clean that out a little bit. Okay, before I get into the eye, I want to straighten out the nose a little bit. That's what I like to do, is I like to work with one little thing a little bit, then go to the next, and then come back again, because I want to see how it all fits as we go. Now I want to make the nose, have a little detail on the nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve a little nostril straight down. And then we're going to create another chip by going at an angle like this. And then we're going to run along the mustache. Come on. And that should pop right out. It did. And you see we're starting to form the nose a little bit there. Same with the other side. Straight down. And it's ready to pop out already. There. Now we want to take the nose and go about a 30-degree angle this way. I had that right there, yep. And a 30-degree angle this way. I think I cut off a little more on the other side there. See, how does that look? So far, so good. And of course, we can get deeper around the cheeks, deeper around the nose as you go. But again, like I said, I like to get started with the nose and started with the face, and then I like to work around. I'd start playing with the beard a little bit, and I'd start playing with the hair a little bit. And then I start playing with the top a little bit, and if he's gonna have one of these, can have a hat on there, that's just just for the heck of this, kind of help things out a little bit, is cut that out, just to kind of get our bearings here. I mean, if you're really working on your head right now, you would figure out how the hat would sit. And I was just working with the face. Okay, what I want to do is I want to round the cheeks off a little bit here. Round the forehead off a little bit. Just to make it a little rounder there. The top of the eye, this is almost ready to put the eyeball in, but at the top of the eye, what I want to do is I want to widen the sweep a little bit. I don't want to dig deep down and create another eye line. Let me put that eye line in there again. Because I just don't want him to look angry. So it's actually, I'm just trimming the forehead actually. When you look at it that way, I'm trimming the forehead. Same thing here. We're just trimming the forehead. Trying to get the anger out of him. So I have a lot of my students would say that just looks a little too angry. Now, one other thing I want to do before I put in the eyeball is, remember the eyeball is round, and so we want to dig the bridge a little more. And if you want to use a chisel, you can use a chisel instead. I like using the knife because I used to teach beginning wood carving this face, and beginners usually have just a knife. They don't have the whole set of tools. Putting in the eyeball and maybe the mouth, maybe work on the nose a little bit, just kind of finishing up on the standard face. Mainly I want to focus on the eyeball. Here's an example of a carving I just finished, a Viking. Try to look something similar to that. Maybe if I have time, talk a little bit about the beard. I add a little extra pizzazz to the beard. Anyways, let's get started. I want to put my visor on here so I can see a little closer here. Hopefully I can still get into the camera so you could see. I'm going to start by bringing the eye line back in. We certainly would like to start with an eye line. Making sure that the eye area is cleaned up. Like I mentioned before, we're going to make a round eyeball, so we want to make sure that there's some indentation at the nose. And then we're going to measure the distance between, I'm just going to put in, if you have a little measuring device, you can do this too. Let me put this in first and then I'll explain. Is the eyeball will probably start around there. Okay. Now the distance between here and here is the same between here and here. And from here to here is the distance between here to here, give or take. If at worst case you're off by a little bit, so it's okay for it to be a little wide at the nose, but if it's a little too narrow at the nose, and it might give a, should we say, a cross-eyed effect. Now generally there's supposed to be a space between here to here and here to the edge, here to here, here to the edge. Myself, I would carve around the chin and side area first before I would put the eyes in, but in this little demonstration here I just used just a little block there to demonstrate the eyeball and some of the face. So I'm going to put in an eyeball. I'm going to put in a general regular eye. In this case, it goes up kind of sharply and then it slowly comes down. Almost the same in reverse, and especially if this is a Santa Claus that would have a larger cheek, they would kind of sharp this way and then gradually come up over here. Same thing. Kind of sharp and come down like that, and here kind of sharp and then come slightly down this way. Let's take a look how does that look. Basically kind of okay, sort of. Good. Now another version that you could do, that I have done, and it depends on what you want to, what kind of face that you want to have. I just want to round this off. You don't have to do this. I'm just rounding this off here to, let's pretend that that's the eyeball socket again. And you got your eye line in here. You can do, and then here's the nose. The nose kind of comes down this way. Now you could do something like kind of like this, kind of a caricature eye, just a half circle like that. Depends on how high you want it, how high you want it to be, and then maybe just a little bit down here. I just add a little bit, carve a little bit like this. And you can do something like that. There's all kinds of different ways. Another way that you could do, especially in the Native American, or if you want the eyes to be kind of narrow, is instead of rounding like this, you can start off by just simply doing straight lines, sharp like this, sharp like this, and they're a straight line, basically straight lines. You can do it like that too. Okay, let's get into the eyeball here. I'm going to take a knife, a little detailed knife. Like I said, I got my visor on, so, excuse me. Make sure that you can see. And I just want to carve around the area that I drew, and you're just kind of drawing out with the tip of your knife. Not too thick, or not too deep. Just kind of light. Same with coming back here. And you want a kind of a smooth, hopefully smooth, non-stopping cut. Being careful not to slip and not only cut yourself, but put a nice gouge in the cheek. Okay, so you just drew around like that with your knife. Now what you want to do on the corners of the eyes, you want to dig a little deeper, because think about what we're doing here, is that we are creating a round ball. And you're just going to try to take all the stuff away from that is not the eyeball. Got that from, I think, Michelangelo and his, is it Michelangelo? And his carving in stone. He sees what he wants in the stone, he just simply chips away what doesn't belong. And that's the same with this here. Now you're going to create like another chip. You know, 4 or 3 angle chip, and you're just going to peck that out of there like that. Same with this side. I like to do both eyes one side. It depends on what you want to do. You want to do one eye at a time, but the reason why I like to do this is less time moving the piece of wood around. Now you can see right away what's happening here. Let's get a nice close-up here. So you chip that away. See, you're just starting the rounding process. Now you want to carve up just a little bit. And I guess I need it to be just a little bit deeper. And then you want to come down on the eye to complete the ball. Now this would be a good time if you want to just try to smooth it out a little bit. This time I might move the piece around a little bit. And we got a round ball in there. Let's see if we can do this around. Is there any, let's get that little whoozy what's it out of there. So the eyeball is round. Let's try the other side here. Now this time it came up first. And then come down. Create the eyeball. Okay. Now this would be a good time to clean out the. I like to clean out the pencil marks. And this is where, of course, I should have mentioned before, is a good time to make sure that the tip of your knife is really sharp for doing stuff like this. Okay, now one other thing, now I'm going to start putting the eyelids in. You can use a round chisel, but I like to just scoop a little bit like this. Scoop it. You scoop. If you do use the knife, you're only scooping below the eye. You're not taking any of the eyelid off, bottom eyelid out. See, this area here is still going to be up. I may have cut off a little more than I wanted right there, but now we're going to take a V-tool. This is what I like to do, is take a V-tool. And we want to take and cut just above the eye like this. Let me do it once, I suppose. Nice and smooth. And again, you're going to leave the closest to the eye, the wood that's closest to the eye is going to be up while you're digging. It would probably be, well, this is a large V tool, so probably about, like, depending on the size of the V tool, that's the problem, is to use the, the end as a guide. Okay, is good so far. Take the knife again. Now what we're going to do is we're going to carve this little, we're going to take the knife and we're going to keep coming down. See, I'm not carving. I'm just showing you. Now I carve. Down like that. And we're going to take just a piece out of there like that. Let me show you again over here. I'm just going to come along and continue the cut and just take another little chip out like that. Now I can work on, do I want the eye to be a little bigger? This one here is a little narrow, but you know, I can probably leave it for now and work on it later. Because I got these little things I got to peck at. And there's basically the eye right there. Now I would like to wait until after I get the eye in to reform the forehead to make sure that we got enough wood there to put in our eyebrow in. So let me work that up a little. Again, the eyebrow, the bone of the skull is high here. And so I want to shape that a little bit. And then I want to shape this area here a little bit. This goes down a little bit. Okay, let's get the profile. See, you got this part here is up, where the forehead goes down into the skull. Now this is also the time to fiddle with it if you don't want him to have the mean look. It is kind of difficult at this point to get out that, well, it's not that hard, just a little bit here. So if you want to unmean him or unangry him, is to create more of the line of the brow going this way, up. So let me shape this here, form this here a little bit. Now, it's a little better. Now here's the problem there. You look straight on, okay, he doesn't look so bad. He doesn't look mad. But, you know, of course, as you're going to put this on the shelf, and unless it's at eye level, here's the other way you can test it, is if you go put it at an angle like this, and then if he still looks mean, then just keep working with it. Unless you want him to be mad, you know, like the Mad Wizard or something. Okay, eyebrow. Now there's many ways to do the eyebrow. You can just like pencil one in and shape it. I just like to take the V tool. This tool is kind of dull a little bit here. And just go away from the center. Like that. And if you say, well, gee whiz, I think that's too much eyebrow, well, then you can kind of trim it off a little more here. If you wish at this time, you can also take your V tool and just kind of come across the forehead. I mean, if this is like a more elderly gentleman, you know, you might want to put a mark across there. Generally, I like to leave it as is. Let me see. I left it on this guy here. Most of the time, I like to leave it out. But if you want to put an old man look or some crinkly face look. All right. This would also be a good time, now that the eyes are in, is to form the cheek a little bit. Get my finger out of the way. So you want to come down straight and then come around the cheek. And then I want to come at about a 30-degree angle back. and hope that that chip pops out of there. Nothing's more frustrating than trying to create a chip and it doesn't pop out. The problem is that you create a chip, you cut, and it doesn't come out, and you cut again, and it doesn't come out again, and you keep cutting, and it just turns into a lot of little furry pieces in there. The trick is, or the best thing that I can do is you just need to practice to know where the tip of that knife is, as if you're looking at a block that is transparent and you can see it. So you're just imagining it. Now, this kind of adds a little extra shadow. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. That adds a little extra value to it. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. You can go a little deeper. I didn't go as deep as I wanted to. I'm just going to leave it at this side here. I want to shape the nose just a little bit. One of the things for sure that we want to do on the nose, being the elderly gentleman, this is even if you're carving women's faces, is you want to carve around the nose deep. Of course, the women's face is not so deep. And we're going to create another chip so we can see the shadow of the nose. Nose around the cheek. See that shadow there. Same on the other side. Again, remember I'm right-handed. If you're right-handed, be conscious that you're not carving in this way, that you're carving away from the nose. Now you can carve in this way around the cheek. I already got it all smoothed out, I guess. Now, because the size of this particular character is small, I don't like to spend too much time on the nose. Is just to put in an angle like this, just enough to show that it's a decent nose. So you carve about, again, a 30-degree angle this way and then this way. Now you could come around and let's see that nostril as you carve into and pull out like that. Let's do that again. See, we're creating that nostril. So you carve in and then pull out like a scoop. The scoop. Come down on the nose a little bit. And then you want to round this just a little bit. You can use chisels if you like. If it is easier for you to use chisels, if you got a nice sharp knife, I'd like to. Sometimes I get too lazy and putting one tool down, and I keep using that tool for a while. And clean out the pencil mark there. And one more thing I want to do is just this little carve around this way, finish that round. You can keep the nose as a hook, sharp hook, like that. I mean, that's not too bad for an old guy, but maybe just take a little bit off too. That's still good too. Now, if you want to put the hole in, I can see this is kind of off kilter a little bit here. Let me play with it. If you want to put the hole of the nostril on, it's very simple. It's just a little. I just put in a little chip. You can take a little chisel. And I like to start on the far end or the outside first. You're creating a chip. And pop that out of there. That's kind of about as much as I want in the nose. Just very quickly, we'll do a quick mouth here. This particular character, I think we need to bring this up. The mouth is very quick and simple. I mean, it's very easy to do. Let me get my bigger knife. I got a bigger piece of chunk there. Or you can leave it the way it was, and then you could like dig underneath, have no mouth, and it gives the impression that the mouth is there. So it's just one less thing you need need to carve. Now you can use I'm going to pencil this now. I get to a point where I just grab my tools and whack away, but I'll pencil in this. Not penciling in as way I wanted to. Because I've been out of practice penciling in the mouth. That's not something you want to hear. You can either take a V-tool or you can start with a knife and you're going to carve away from the nose again. And again, a lot of times I like to use a knife over a V-tool because it's more natural. The cut looks natural and therefore the face looks more natural than it being mechanical. But some people like to start with the V-tool, to get it started, and then maybe you can just trim it up later. Okay, now here's the important part. This is the thing that I've neglected in my earlier days, is I've been kind of almost leaving it like that. But it kind of looks like, a dog sticking its tongue out, and that is a problem. And so you want to dig deep. Dig deep. Another chip. Get that out of there. Now you got the hole there. You can make them smile, you can make them do whatever you want there. The rest is just simply rounding off. You probably want to round the cheeks off a little more, shape the cheeks off. The mustache, you might want the mustache to go in towards the nose more. Rounding off, so on and so forth. I mean, the rest is more like shaping. But there you have the face with the eyes, the mouth. And like I said, you could just start doing all kinds of shaping and forming, and I just started to do this somewhat recently, add a little more detail to it. But there you have it. The face and the eye. Again, my name is Russell Scott. You can see my carvings at scottcarvings.com. I also have a connection to my blog site, which has the more recent carvings. But hope to see you out there in the carving world. Bye.